Good morning. It's Isabel from Autism Untouched. I'm just really having a very relaxing morning. I want to talk to you guys about getting your autistic child to get dressed this morning, how I went about it, and how to help them dress according to the weather. Because I know with Matthew, in the earlier years, he's 7 now, he's going to be 8 in January. In the earlier years, he used to want to put on a t-shirt when it was freezing cold outside, or shorts, and there's actually simple ways to deal with it and to get them to get dressed. It's all in the way you approach the child. A lot of people, I know at a point Matthew didn't want to wear pajamas. He wanted to run around in the house in his underwear, or if I'm lucky, he'll put his underwear on. But those are things that when you are in that situation with your child, it can be funny, but it can also become embarrassing, especially if you want to take your child out in public places. And I know how judgmental people are. I'm not like that because I've got an autistic child. I completely understand the way their brain works. But other people would look at your child not having shoes on, or and it's cold, or having a t-shirt on and it's very cold, and they would immediately think, especially because a lot of autistic kids don't look autistic, they'll immediately think, oh, that mother is so irresponsible, or that child is so neglected by their parent, not knowing sometimes how hard it is to get those kids to put on clothes and shoes if they don't want to. But I have learned a few hacks, if you will, how to deal with that with Matthew. The first one that comes to mind that I dealt with him was I put in his cupboard, his drawers. I put the clothing in there that is seasonal, the summer clothes, and the things that I know he likes wearing, his shorts and his t-shirts and short thermals. I put that right at the bottom of the drawers, and I put it away completely out of sight. To them, seeing something before them is really, really important. I would put his winter thermals and his winter pajamas, his winter clothes, I would put in the first drawer of his drawers. So when he had a bath and he was dry, he opened up the drawer and that was the first thing that he saw. And that's how I learned, because I learned that whatever is in visually visible for them to choose from, they'll take the thing that they are familiar with and that they like, because they are kids that are used to habits, and they form a routine and a habit very quickly. You know how it is with my son Matthew. You've got to do what works for you. I remember at a stage, just to give you an example, the one day after school he wanted to have ice cream, and I took him to a shop close to the house. There's a dairy that they sell ice creams, and after that he wanted to do that every single day. It took me quite some time to explain to him without having a tantrum. As he got older, I'm also saying this, as he got older it got better, but I realized at a very young age that with the autistic child, forming a good habit is really important for them, forming the habits that you want them to have. And so clothing wise, if you are worried about your child not dressing according to the weather, this is what I did. I put his warm clothes, his winter clothes, when it started getting cold in spring already. Here in spring it's still cold, very cold. So, and in the fall, like you guys in the US say, in New Zealand they say autumn. I put the warmer clothes on the top, in the top drawer, and same with his socks and things like that. It all goes on top, in his underwear, so he knows where to find it after he's had his bath or his shower and he's going to get dressed. A lot of people have so much struggles with the autistic kids coming into bad habits. I'll talk about all of that, But the thing is, you have to alternate. You have to alternate. You've got to help them make the choices you want them to make until they can make it by themselves. So, this is what I did. Getting him dressed in the morning, it's all about creating a routine. Like I told you guys this morning, I in I would say about still 2 years ago, he was expecting me to dress him every morning. And like going back to the diagnosis that I told you guys about, if I had to listen to the therapists and the specialist about his low muscle tone, making it hard for him to get dressed and to do a lot of various activities, like they said, if I had to believe that, I would have robbed him of the opportunity to learn how to do those skills. Low muscle tone, that's another thing. Going to give you guys a separate video on that. But practice can fix anything. If you practice activities like putting shoes on and putting on shirts, sometimes your child is going to struggle a bit. I know with Matthew it was that way. It didn't come easy. He didn't just one day got up and got dressed and chose good clothes and stuff. It took some time. I had to work things out, and I had to put my trust and my patience at work, knowing that I'm going to give him the chance to try this new skill till he can master it. It's not impossible for a child to to dress themselves. So this is what I did. I gave Matthew the opportunity every morning, and I still do, to get himself dressed. And I made sure that he understood, after he's dressed in his school clothes and his shoes is on, then he's allowed to choose the activity that he likes, whether it's time on his iPad or time on the computer or doing a puzzle or anything. I made sure that we get up early enough so that he can have time to wake up, have his breakfast, get dressed, and then brush his teeth, and then he's allowed to choose something that he wants to do. It gives him a sense of accomplishment. And that's the advice I wanted to give you guys today is don't be in a hurry with your child if they're learning to dress themselves. Be patient and don't give up. Matthew used to run around in his underwear for a long time. And I used to tell him to put clothes on, tell him to put clothes on. And sometimes I had to dress him myself. But you keep on reinforcing what you want the child to do, not in a threatening way, but help them. You are going to help them in the beginning to show them how to get dressed. Show them, if you've got visuals, I've actually got new visuals, so I'm really excited that I can use, and I'll share it with you guys in a new video. And if you can show them that, look, this little boy or this little girl is dressed, and that makes you a big girl. You'll be surprised, even with Matthew not being very verbal yet. If you explain things to them on their level, they do understand, and they do learn the skills that they need to. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll share a bit more on Matthew's journey and on the things that I've learned as I go along. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.